Hello, welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd, and you were watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I've got some updates coming out from Iran to share with you. So, we have this report, it's an exclusive report on Reuters, I might add, that Iran is going to deliver hundreds of ballistic missiles to Russia very soon. This is according to intelligence sources. So, this is a very interesting story. This is the Fath-360 short range ballistic missile system that is currently owned by Iran. They developed this actually in competition to the HIMARS that Ukraine is currently using. Okay, so it's very similar to the HIMARS. If anything, it's probably better. Statistically wise, we'll go over some of the statistics on this Fath-360 here in just a little bit. I got a report that we're going to go over, and it does have a lot of information, so bear with me. We're going to dive into this, and I'm going to show you all the information regarding this Fath-360 system that's going to be going to Russia here very soon. And we do have some information from the Iranians. Apparently, their spokesperson to the UN came out and announced that they're not going to be sending this anytime soon to Russia. They've been actually training Russian troops to use this system, apparently. I think Russia already knows how to use it. They've got some troops that are trained on it. So that's why supposedly this report is coming out that Iran is going to be sending this to Russia very soon. We don't know how many of these systems they're going to be sending, but according to this information, they are planning to send it soon, and the U.S. has come out and told them that they are prepared to deliver a swift and severe response if Iran were to move forward with such transfers. I mean, think about that. What could that possibly be? A swift and severe response? That has to be some sort of an attack, right? I mean, what else does that mean when they say swift and severe? It has to be a major response. Most likely conventionally. What would they destroy? Iran's nuclear facilities. What would they do if they were to send these over? Now, why is this such a big deal? Well, think about what's happening inside of Ukraine right now. We know that Ukraine has pushed into the Kursk region, and Russia is really struggling to push the Ukrainians out of that area, okay? There's some reports from the Institute of Study of War saying that it could take Russia up to a year to regain all that territory that has been lost if they continue advancing on the Ukrainians in the Kursk region at the rate that they have been moving on the eastern side of Ukraine. Now, I know it's kind of might be a little confusing, but clearly they've been moving very slow in the war in Ukraine, right? So if they were to move slowly in this pushback in the Kursk region, it would take them a very long time, in other words, to regain that lost territory. So I want to talk some more about this, because the reason why these could possibly be going to Russia very soon, if the Iranians decide to do this, is to help them out in the Kursk region. Okay, we've been talking a lot about this, so let me go ahead and get into this. Just bear with me. There's a lot of information that we need to get into here, but it's very important information for me to show you in this video. So let's go ahead and read this. So, exclusive: Iran to deliver hundreds of ballistic missiles to Russia soon, intel sources say. Okay, this just came out today, 6 hours ago, August 10th. 2024. Dozens of Russian military personnel are being trained in Iran to use the Fath-360 close-range ballistic missile system, two European intelligence sources told Reuters, adding that they expected the imminent delivery of hundreds of satellite-guided weapons to Russia for its war in Ukraine. Russian Defense Ministry representatives are believed to have signed a contract on December 13th in Tehran with Iranian officials for the Fath-360 and another ballistic missile system built by Iran's government-owned Aerospace Industries Organization, or AIO, called the Ababil, according to the intelligence officials who requested anonymity in order to discuss sensitive matters. Citing multiple confidential intelligence sources, the official said, the Russian personnel have visited Iran to learn how to operate the Fath-360 defense system, which launches missiles with a maximum range of 120 kilometers or 75 miles. So these are short-range ballistic missiles with a warhead of 150 kilograms. One of the sources said that the only next possible step after training would be actual delivery of the missiles to Russia. Moscow possesses an array of its own ballistic missiles, but the supply of Fath-360s could allow Russia to use more of its arsenal for targets beyond the front line, while employing Iranian warheads for closer range targets, a military expert said. So think about this, okay? If Russia has mostly longer range ballistic missiles, this will give them much greater capabilities. And I'm going to show you the comparison of how these are with HIMARS, because right now Ukraine has HIMARS, okay? And these are supposedly supposed to be the answer to HIMARS, a counter for a HIMARS rocket system. And these are short range, so this will free up all of Russia's ballistic missiles that are currently being used short range and allow them to go after targets much further beyond the front line, as it states here, and then it will allow them to use these much heavier Fath-360 short-range ballistic missiles to target the front line inside of Ukraine. And then think about how this application will work inside of the Kursk region, okay? With only having to be 75 miles or 120 kilometers, you know, they could easily use these to start wiping out troops inside of the Kursk region. And this obviously would be a major threat to the forces that are pushing into Kursk right now. And we know that there is major backing from the United States and NATO partners right now. NATO, along with the United States, many members have already come out and said that it's okay for Ukraine to use whatever weapon is being given to them. Even HIMARS just was exploding inside of the Kursk region just recently in the last few days, taking out an entire Russian column. So this is going to be a major counter to that push in the Kursk region, in my opinion, if they decide to send these over. But it says here, a spokesman for the U.S. National Security Council said United States and its NATO allies and G7 partners are prepared to deliver a swift and severe response if Iran were to move forward with such transfers. Absolutely insane, right? It would represent a dramatic escalation in Iran's support for Russia's war of aggression against Ukraine, the spokesman said. The White House has repeatedly warned of the deepening security partnership between Russia and Iran since the outset of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Okay, also says here, Russia's defense ministry did not respond to a request for comment. Iran's permanent mission to United Nations in New York said in a statement that the Islamic Republic had forged a long-term strategic partnership with Russia in various areas, including military cooperation. Nevertheless, from an ethical standpoint, Iran refrains from transferring any weapons, including missiles, that could potentially be used in the conflict with Ukraine until it is over. So that's what the statement said. So they wouldn't send any weaponry to Russia until the war is over, but they've already sent them ballistic missiles from what I understand. I think this was reported back in April or something. They had already sent ballistic missiles, and then also they've sent them hundreds, if not thousands, of Shahed drones that are flying into Ukraine almost every single day. So I feel like what they get away with here is they say, well, all we're doing is just transferring, you know, military equipment back and forth with each other. You know, Russia just did the same thing recently, sending Iskander ballistic missiles and advanced electronic warfare systems over to Iran recently. And then Iran is saying, well, we're just doing the same thing. I mean, it's up to them what they want to do with it, but all we're really doing is just you know, committing to being trade partners. That's all they're really doing. So will they still send this system, although they're saying that they don't plan to until the war is over? We have no idea. But according to this report, it's saying they're going to be doing this very soon. Okay. Also considering that Russians are already trained how to use this equipment. So the White House declined to confirm that Iran was training Russian military personnel on the Fath-360 or that it was preparing to ship the weapons to Russia for use in Ukraine. The two intelligence sources gave no exact time frame for the expected delivery of Fath-360 missiles to Russia, but said it would be soon. They did not provide any intelligence on the status of the Abibel contract. A third intelligence source from another European agency said it had also received information that Russia had sent soldiers to Iran to train the use of Iranian ballistic missile systems without providing further details. Okay, so apparently the Russians have already trained for use of the Fath-360. Such training is standard practice for Iranian weapons supplied to Russia, said the third source, who also declined to be named because of the sensitivity of the information. A senior Iranian official who requested anonymity said Iran had sold missiles and drones to Russia but has not provided Fath-360 missiles. There was no legal prohibition on Tehran selling such weapons to Russia, the source added. Iran and Russia engage in the mutual purchase of parts and military equipment. How each country uses this equipment is entirely their decision, the official said, adding that Iran did not sell weapons to Russia for use in the Ukraine war. As part of the military cooperation, Iranian and Russian officials often travel between the two states, the official added. So thanks for waiting with me. I know that was a lot of information, but think about this, okay? Again, they're stating that the Iranians have not given Russia any weapons for use in Ukraine, but that's exactly what Russia has done with the weapons that have been given to them. Even ballistic missiles, I believe, being given to them from the North Koreans. Okay, artillery shells given from the North Koreans. Of course, they're going to lob them over into Ukraine. So this looks like to me like they're coming out and saying we have no plans to send this weapon system over to Russia, but maybe on the back end they might go ahead and do this and say, well, I mean, we have a partnership here when it comes to military cooperation and trade. We're going to go ahead and send this over to them. So they might go ahead and do this anyway. I have no idea, but according to that UN spokesman from Iran, they don't plan to do this anytime soon until the war is over. But we do know at the same time, okay, within a few months, this war could potentially be over. But with the Ukrainians pushing into Russia right now, I have no idea. Is this going to extend this war out further? What's going to happen here? Is this just going to be used for negotiations in November when the Ukraine decides to hold a peace summit, if they're even able to with the Russians? I have no idea what's going to happen with that. I think most of us are waiting to see what will happen with this peace summit. But I've got a couple things that I want to share here with you on X. So let's go ahead and jump on over here. So I've got this pulled up. This actually came out in July of 2023 from Iran Observer. Meet Fath-360, Iran's answer to U.S. HIMARS system. Fath-360 can hit strategic targets at the speed of 3,704 kilometers, and its velocity can be increased to some 5,000 kilometers while communicating with satellites for quick navigation and fast strikes against enemy targets. So think about how deadly that could be, okay? This is the HIMARS versus the Fath-360. This is the system that Ukraine is currently using right now that they just used to bomb that Russian column in the Kursk region recently. So look at the difference. The HIMARS has a 90 kilogram warhead. The Fath-360 has a 150 kilogram warhead, okay? So almost close to double the size of the warhead. And also a 70, it goes 70 kilometers range, right? And also the Fath-360 can go 100 kilometers, so it can go further than the HIMARS. And also maximum speed, Mach 2.5 for the HIMARS, Mach 4 for the Fath-360. So clearly, the Fath-360 is supposed to be a much better unit versus the HIMARS, and this is going to be a major counter for the Russians if they are able to receive this. And this will be very devastating for Ukrainian front lines inside of Ukraine that are already struggling to fight back against the Russians and hold them back, even on the eastern side of their country, which many people believe this is why they open up this front in the Kursk region to draw some of the troops away from the east, as the eastern side is slowly collapsing as time goes on. And we've been hearing lots of reports coming out from this that Ukraine continuously has to keep falling back and they've been losing ground. And it may be incremental gains from the Russians, but nonetheless, they are gaining land on the eastern side of their country in Ukraine. So also, let me show you this here from Globe Eye News. It says breaking, Iran has deployed new cruise missiles with highly explosive, undetectable warheads. So this was one last thing I wanted to share with you. This came out just yesterday, okay? So also apparently they are deploying these new cruise missiles, highly explosive with undetectable warheads. Will this make it more difficult to be detected by radar systems or air defense systems? Most likely. And this is also a big sign that the Iranians are preparing to go to war, okay? And it definitely seems like that through the Middle East. And like we've been reporting, the Iranians, also the RGC top commander, General Salami, I think is his name, he came out recently and said he's basically just waiting for Ali Khamenei, the Iran supreme leader, to give the order to attack Israel, and then it's basically game on from there, okay? If they attack Israel, we're most likely going to have a major war break out in the Middle East, which is also very interesting. Why would they send these Fath-360 systems over to Russia at a time that they know they're about to go to war with potentially the U.S. and Israel? It doesn't make sense that they would do that. But at the same time, I don't know, maybe these short-range ballistic missiles wouldn't be too effective for them in a war against the United States and Israel, considering how far apart they are from each other. Maybe they think that that these will not be as much use for them, so they'd rather give them to Russia. I have no idea. But let me know what you think down below. Just wanted to share these details here with you today. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. If you got something out of this update, please smash that like button. Also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. And with that, hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless. And we'll see you in the next one.